Welcome back, everyone, to another J&J episode here. I'm just going to hear myself out, making sure I'm coming through this audio we've been testing around lately. Oh, sure. Hopefully. Hello, testing 1, 2. Can everyone hear me okay? I'm relying on you guys to give me that feedback. Tell Trey that we're on live. Text him that now.
I will.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone's had a really amazing weekend or week. It's been an eventful week for the most part. Justin, had a good weekend yourself?
Pretty much.
It was a good week in the world of sports. I can't drink
Busy
that
week.
now. Yeah, I was gonna go for a drink here.
Courtney says so.
How's the audio going? I don't have anything
Trey said
set up.
about time.
It's about time. You know what? This is the late night show, the late night show with J&J.
All right,
But yeah, about time. We're trying new things out, so I apologize for the delay, but we're live, up and going. I hope everyone had an amazing week so far. I had an amazing time yesterday with. Why don't you go take care of that? I'll introduce everyone. It's a part of us as Justin takes off for a second. Y'all too much? JJ, are you excited for this weekend? Well, we'll ask him when he gets back here. For this past weekend, was he excited? Did he have fun? I don't know. I'm sure it's a late night show. Okay, I'm tired. Don't expect much out of me right now. So, as he takes care of something and figures something out, I'm gonna get you right into it. Busy weekend. Entire week, to say the least. We started back on Monday with football, baseball, college, now the WWE. We saw title reigns changing and everything. You know what? Prime time, showtime. I like that. Let's do that. Prime time, showtime. There you go. Look, you can see your own. There you go. How about this one? Yeah, now you guys can be a part of my stream, and I will include you into it. So, all right. What about some Q&As? You guys asked me a question while Justin takes care of something here. Courtney, Trey, thank you for joining us to this late night show. It's prime time here. I got the Chiefs and the Ravens. Who else are you guys watching tonight? Chiefs and Ravens. I know the Phillies and the Mets were going at it earlier tonight. We'll cover a little bit of that in our show as we begin. Can you guys hear us okay? Can you guys see me okay? See me, not him. I don't care about him. See me. Hello? You guys are going to keep on typing or ask me questions, whatnot? I'm going to cut away just for a quick. Did I see the match? Trey, did you see the match before it was confirmed? Which one? You have the one-on-one match. You have a couple matches confirmed for Raw.
For next week.
Mm-hmm. The New Day versus Roman Reigns and the Usos.
Yep. I'm excited to see that. It's actually the bloodline now. It's not
Okay, the
family.
bloodline. Okay,
Which even though, why would they call it the bloodline? I thought it'd be the family.
that's one big bloodline.
I mean, I understand that.
What else was scheduled? I know was it Nia Jax versus Shania Baszler from Monday?
And then women's tag team title match.
So is that set for Monday or is that set for Extreme Rules? I don't know. I'll go look for that up throughout the show and I'll get to you. Well, listen, I appreciate your patience. Thank you for tuning in. Another episode of the J&J Talk Show. We are now officially, about a month into this now. So hopefully you guys are still liking the content that we're going on. He's going to be reading comments. I'm going to be browsing through here. So bear with us here. Listen, Justin.
Yeah.
Towards me, yeah, towards the camera. No, we have a lot going on this past week. It's actually something worth talking about, something very interesting in watching. If you didn't watch sports this past week, you missed out
On a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, you started off with a great show, a great match with the Vegas Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens. Which is now turning into a great Sunday night game between the Chiefs and the Ravens as well. A lot of great NFL games today. Okay, Bengals lost. What can you expect? We also had NCAA football this past weekend. We had Major League Baseball, was obviously the road to the show, and WWE. Let's not forget about the championships that were crowned. Big E cashing in the Money in the Bank title contract to win the WWE Championship over Bobby Lashley. Then appearing on SmackDown because that's his rightful brand for at least the next 2 weeks, and then he went back. It's going to be back up on Raw. We'll get into that here in a moment. Then we also had Tommaso Ciampa. New crowned NXT champion, Justin. What do you think? You're a Tommaso Ciampa fan. He finally wins the title.
He finally got Goldie back.
Got Goldie back. And there's no Johnny Gargano in the way yet.
Well, that's because of the wedding.
Because of the wedding.
Wedding with Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. I wish them all the best. But
the one that happened a couple weeks ago?
No, actually.
Well, that happened this past Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually got married on
The first episode of that.
The new branding of
branding. How do you like the logo?
I like it, kind of don't like it.
So I guess the idea of the new logo is was to have it arranged where it was like Impact. Mm-hmm. Like if you see Impact's arena. Or back when AEW first started, the round arena, they kind of try to impact that. Yeah, you know what? That's Friday. We haven't gotten to that yet. You're asking him some weird. This is not a show about prom, you guys. This is a show about wrestling and weddings. So
that was actually on wrestling. That was actually on NXT.
Wrong topic there, you guys. I know Kay did that too also. Okay, well let's get right into it because there was some great matches. I want to cover a couple of things. I know we got to get into WWE. We're going to get into some Raw. We're going to take a different approach to that, but I'll get to that here in a moment. I want to highlight some things, and I want to first go off and say I did tell Trey this yesterday. After our program, I have waited all week long to pronounce this. I'm excited because we've been doing YouTube for about a month. We've been doing Facebook. I have, our good friend Trey over here that we did Extreme Rules yesterday. So if you didn't check out that episode, go out and check that episode that we recapped Extreme Rules, all the match cards, all 6 matches scheduled for that show. That was yesterday.
Well, hopefully it's a good Extreme Rules.
Listen, as we disclosed this was going to be nothing but pins and needles, okay? But no, I mean, nonetheless here, we have expanded our branding, hopefully,
Mhm.
to the audio production.
Okay.
And we are now available on Spotify. This was probably our original goal to make a audio podcast for viewers. We decided that we started off with YouTube because it was easy, it was free, it was less stuff. But after some research, after some, doing my due diligence, getting ourselves on Spotify was or is the way to go.
Plus, it's an easier way to reach out more viewers because they can't really watch that much video all the time
Right.
if they're working, driving, for instance.
Oh yeah. So our initial goal was to have ourselves aired for a podcast so that people, if you're working, cleaning around the house, whether you're falling asleep, taking a shower, driving, whatever you're doing, you were able to have a content where you're able to listen to us easily. We went through YouTube, which we're going to still stick with YouTube. We're going to still stick with these live shows. I think having a talk show is essential. I, like the banners that we put up, and I want to become more educated with the, technology that they have. And as we build our content and everything, we hope to become more exciting. But with that being said, we are now going back to our original process, and that is to air and give people the opportunity who can't watch us to listen to us on Spotify. So Spotify is free. If you guys aren't aware of, I'm assuming a lot of people are. It is the J&J J&J Talk Show on Spotify. I know because we are new and not established Spotify yet, it can be a little bit difficult to watch us, to listen to us. So if you guys need help finding it out, reach out to me personally through one of the comments on YouTube, through one of the maybe one of the on Facebook, Twitter. You could talk to Trey. I know he has some links on how to search us up. But I have majority of our content that we put up in the last month already on Spotify. I know the episodes that we went to YouTube live, because we don't have that audio available right now, we don't have it on there. So last week's talk show, as well as I think was another episode throughout the week that we couldn't have on there. But everything else that's gone through StreamYard that I could save the audio and everything, we have the ability to Spotify. So as of like, for example, the Extreme Rules match is on Spotify coming up after the show. Just hopefully within a couple hours, we should have the next one up there on Spotify. So just stay tuned. If you're having trouble, get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to help you.
And we apologize for any little bit lagging tonight. StreamYard is definitely like the lag more than, well, I would say more than YouTube Live.
We could take yeah. So right now, YouTube Live, when you directly go from YouTube Live, hold on 1 second. And whenever you go directly to YouTube Live, you have the direct source to have cleaner content. But whenever you go through Spotify, you have to test that out. So kind of just testing our internet out right now. Looks like our download speed's good, which is great. Give me a second for the upload. That's where we're going to be talking about. I mean, upload looks pretty solid. It could be because I do have my partner here, Justin, on our StreamYard backstage area. Could be lagging. Everything looks to be up to date on our end. So maybe refresh the page. I know it's lagging, so bear with us. I think it looks like the internet's kind of in and out according to that. So, listen, we haven't gone talking about anything yet. We've been lagging the last 15 minutes. But, listen, we're going to try to work things out. I want him to be able to look at the comments, right? We mentioned that last episode or the last talk show where people wanted to have you maybe look at the comments on YouTube Live. So that's what we're taking the approach tonight. So maybe we'll see how that goes, make some adjustments. So I apologize if it lags. If not, hey, listen, turn us off now. And by 2:00 in the morning, go to Spotify and listen to us. There will be no lagging on Spotify.
Oh, hopefully not.
So, all right. So listen, I'm not really gonna get too far into this, but we talked about some, over the week. I posted some other podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about some college football.
Yep.
It's been interesting. Some of the matches, Oregon versus Ohio State. That was a good matchup. Well, and this week there was none less. There was a few good matchups coming into this week. Alabama and Florida was a really big name, and Alabama beat Florida 31-29. Which was a really good game. I didn't watch all of it. I saw the highlights.
And I really didn't expect that from Florida.
You know what? Both of them came into the game 2-0. So I was, that's why for me that was an exciting game. I know we also had Nebraska beating Oklahoma. As you can see down in the banner below, you kind of just see some winners throughout the NCAA season. Cincinnati beat Indiana 38-24. They go 3-0. You have Pittsburgh losing to Michigan, which for me was shocking. San Diego State won't beat Utah 33-31. Another great game. Penn State won against Auburn, going 3-0. Your Texas destroyed Rice 58-0.
I mean, it's Rice.
It's Rice, exactly. Oklahoma State upsetted Boise State 21-20. BYU beat Arizona State to go 3-0, and UCLA loses to Fresno State to go 2-1. So some good matches throughout the NCAA. I kind of bring that up, and later on in our weekly episodes, we will go ahead and cover more of that. A couple of things I want to just mention inside the NCAA really fast here. So wins. Clemson, Ohio State picked up a win. USC, Duke, Houston, California picked up the first win of the year. NC State won. LSU won. So those are just some noticeable mentions to bring it ahead. Teams to go 3-0 so far in college football. I know that's not really a big subject, but it's still pretty. I mean, I see some of this list. You got Kentucky, Michigan, Michigan State, Boston College, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, Baylor, SMU, Memphis, Wyoming going 3-0, Texas Tech, Oregon, and Ole Miss. So, couple ideas going over there. So I'm going to get rid of that note card there. I'm still on the notepad. I condensed it. You know what, Justin? We talked about this, the note card situation. I got paper here. Take notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got your phone. I want to see if this helps. I have got you an early Halloween present to this legal notepad that maybe you doodle some ideas around on there.
Yeah, and also for next week's noticeable games that we can reach for college football is Notre Dame and Wisconsin.
Notre Dame is Wisconsin. That's going to be a good one.
And then you get Texas A&M and Arkansas.
Let's fix that. Go ahead and turn off your computer. Let's try that. And let's just run off of here.
I need to update and shit. Just enough. Kick yourself.
All right. Let's try this. Hopefully our content's a little bit better. We're going off for just one computer now. It's a trial and error. Sure. But if you're going to tune us in on Spotify, I apologize for delays. Now we look into NFL. I bring up in NFL here because we had another amazing week. And I'm not getting too deep into the NFL here. Just pull out and say, let's go YouTube, let's go Facebook Live. Let's go edit and let's scroll that. we're all over the place today, and we got to ask, thank for the support there. All right, so in NFL, there was some good games going on this week. Some actually very impressive games. I watched the part of the Washington football team and the New York Giants. That was well received as well. Um, Carolina beat the Saints, which for me was surprising.
Yeah, Saints didn't put up a fight at all.
Not at all, 26-7. Um, and the Cincinnati Bengals, they try to come back, and after being down majority of the game, and they fought their way back. It just wasn't good enough, and that's how. And what, Andy Dalton got injured halfway through the game. Justin Fields had to come in, so it wasn't a pretty asset here. Yes, we knew we froze. I think we made some adjustments, which delayed down. Hopefully, this fixes everything for the rest of the show. But that was a noticeable game. Rams beat the Colts in the last second time. Colts had trouble getting off to a start this year, so or getting off to scoring points this game. So
I feel like their division is actually just having a tough time because technically Texans.
Bengals didn't play the best football, but you know what? I mean, when we knew how good Justin Field was coming in out of the draft. I mean, that's the reason why he played for Ohio State. And, you kind of just have to bite your teeth on this one, get back out there and say, okay, we lost. We're going to go back out there, win the next game. We knew going into Soldier Field, it was going to be a tough game. And it sure was. So, but yeah, the Rams picked up the victory. The Niners beat the Eagles, which was a primetime game. I know I stressed about that going through. We had the Vegas Raiders beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this was a primetime game. I mean, I know we're watching the Chiefs and the Ravens over here, and I don't know what's happening. Looks like yeah. Keep
like 21-14.
So but this was a game to watch because we knew how well the Raiders played last week against the Ravens, and it was important to keep it going. And what better way to come out there and beat Big Ben at his own game? And it was a fight. And so I could just only anticipate the main, what the season's going to hold for the Raiders. I do want to mention, and then we had the Dallas Cowboys and the Chargers. Tight game, went down to the final seconds. Cowboys kicked a field goal. Wasn't the cleanest game, but really was a intensifying game. The Chargers were able to hold on as long as they did, but they just fell short. The reason I bring up NFL, we're talking about NFL, is that we're in week 2. And I don't know if you're superstitious about the statistic side of week 2. So a lot of times when you look into teams that go 0-2 in the first 2 weeks, they unlikely have a very small chance of reaching the postseason. I know we saw that last year in the NFC East, but that division just sucked altogether. But we see that we have a handful of teams that go 0-2. Minnesota Vikings, Atlanta Falcons go 0-2. The New York Jets, which is not typical. Indianapolis Colts with the Carson Wentz, who I think got injured in today's game. Trevor Lawrence over in Jacksonville. This was a game where this was your time. This is your stadium. You're in Jacksonville, your home crowd here. This was your chance to win, right? And they fell short. 23-13 over Denver. So, and then it's also, a chance to look at surprising teams. And I know I'll cover this later on in this week's program, but teams like Arizona going 2-0, the Vegas Raiders going 2-0. The Denver Broncos going 2-0, the Carolina Panthers going 2-0. So things are kind of shocking. And are you superstitious about that stuff? Do you still think that the Jacksonville Jaguars going 0-2 the beginning of the season?
Possibly they can actually still clinch that division. Possibly.
Well, it is a possibility, but it's just this, like I said, statistics show the teams that start 0-2, 0-3, right? it makes it much more of a difficult time.
Very true.
Now, it's one thing when you talk about, okay, now they're in the South, so it's okay. Well, how is Houston playing? How's Tennessee playing? I mean, Tennessee just beat the Seattle Seahawks today, 33-30. I mean, but yet again, you look at Houston, who lost against Cleveland. What Indy is now 0-2 also. So it's just, I know there's certain divisions, but if you're in a division like any team in the West, going 0-2 sucks.
Very true.
And I mean, you don't have to deal with any of that, but that's still a possibility. So, and then like I said, it's still notable to mention like Carolina starting off 2-0. That's not, I mean, I'm pretty impressed. I wanted to see Arizona go 2-0, and they're 2-0 again. I think in the NFC West, the only team that's not 2-0 is the Seahawks. So, it's just something noticeable to mention as we head into week 2. And as we watch this Sunday Night Football, which has been a really good game, it's what, 35-24 in third quarter, I believe, or later than that. I don't know.
The Chiefs are trying to pull this one out.
But Ravens lost last week. We talked about, maybe how the Ravens should be at the top of their division. But if you start off the season 0-2, I mean, they're facing, dropping not only to the Raiders, but now to the, a really tough team in the Chiefs.
Well, it's going to be very weird to see who's going to clinch their division.
I mean,
the Bengals going 1-1.
Well, and then that's the question for the Bengals. Are the Bengals? It was week 1 a fluke. Can they bounce back after week 2 and after this tight loss that they had? Because they had a good comeback going. They just didn't have enough time on the clock. They didn't start the comeback into the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left. And that's not enough time when you're facing the team like the Bears on the road.
You had to be more consistent. They haven't been really being more consistent at all.
I mean, and then the Steelers lost. I mean, to the Raiders, we know how good they are, but it's just there's a lot of questions going on. So the point is that it's just something worthy to mention. 0-2 teams heading into week 3. And now it's going to be more interesting heading into week 3 as the 0-3 teams. So we will cover that later on this moment. I just want to bring that up with you. I'm going to touch the basics here with baseball before we jump into wrestling. Okay. If you look at the postseason standings now, and I know baseball is a tough subject to follow, tough to watch, tough to follow, to properly come by. But September is here. October baseball is within 15 days or less. I mean, within the next 2 weeks, we will figure out who's going to go to the postseason. And then cuts down to 10 teams, then to 8, then the 4, then the 2, then the champions.
Exactly.
And we want to congratulate. I've already congratulated the Giants being the first team to win the clinch a playoff spot. The Dodgers being a second team. The Brewers joined this weekend with those other 2 teams to at least clinch a playoff spot. They're sitting at 91-58. So congratulations to the Milwaukee Brewers as for clinching. On the NL side here, if you look at it as of today, because all 2 games are played besides the Phillies and the Mets, you have the Giants going to have the best record in all of baseball, a matter of fact. And while we're doing this, let's I'm going to just bring up the game. So right now, just as a current standing, the Phillies are down from the Mets 2-3 in the 8th inning, if you're following this. But as of today, as of right now, if you're looking for the playoffs picture, the Giants hold the best record in the National League. The Brewers are behind them, followed by the Atlanta Braves. The Dodgers have a 16-plus game lead in the wild card with 96 wins. St. Louis currently holds the second wild card spot with Philadelphia and Cincinnati Reds 3 games. This is just currently without the Phillies' final score of tonight. The Padres 3.5 games out, which they had a terrible weekend against the Cardinals. And the Mets, I mean, I don't know why I'm including the Mets, but they're 7.5 games out. It's a tight race. And the Cardinals, last week we talked about this. The Cardinals were sitting back about 3 games back. and now they're 3 games above everyone else. And you think about it, you got 2 weeks left of baseball. You only got to cover just a little bit more before you could clinch. And, we talked, I mentioned the Reds play the Pirates. And the Pirates, we mentioned how some of these teams want to knock out their opponents out of the postseason, where the Pirates did their job last week. The Reds go back to the Pirates to do the same thing. So can the Pirates once again knock out the Reds even more? And then the Padres, who are playing terrible as of late, they head over to they face San Francisco again. So the Giants, which is a dominating team. So right now, that's just how it is. The Cardinals beat the Padres today. The Dodgers beat the Reds today. Also, Brewers lost, and the Giants lost today against the Braves 3-0. If you're over in the American League side, let me just do this here. Over the American League side, no team has clinched yet, but as of today, Tampa Bay would have the best record. They should be the upcoming team that hopefully gets clinched by the end of the week. Houston Astros are the second team, followed by the Chicago White Sox. Exciting there. Boston, Toronto, and New York, all within a game and a half of each other. Oakland beating the Angels today puts them 2 games out, and the Mariners 4 games out. Let me ask you this. I know you're not a big baseball person, but could the ALC, and I was listening to radio and I had to think about this, could the AL see a 3-way tie in the wild card this year?
Possible.
And how impressed would you say? Because with Boston didn't play for the first half of the year. Toronto's been in and out playing 500 baseball, and then they break away from time to time. But the Yankees had the most difficult time dealing with COVID, dealing with injuries, dealing with inconsistency, and they're still in the talk of postseason baseball. 3 teams, not to mention Oakland and Seattle, but 3 teams.
Sounds like it's going to be a little bit rough for them.
2 weeks left, and we will cover that later on this week. So we spent the last 30 minutes covering sports, covering baseball, football, and all the
technical difficulties.
Exactly. I don't know why people are still watching our episode, but thank you. Right now, though, we're going to take off. I want to just, before we get into wrestling, let's get right into wrestling. I'll save all that for the end. Raw.
Raw shit show again?
You know what? When you finally say you're going to give up on a brand and you watch them again, and when the day you don't watch them, something good happens.
Yeah, that's what happened this week.
So I mean, we're kind of all lost in the mist here, and a lot of things happen. So when I watched Raw the prior week, Raw was. The Bobby Lashley and MVP won the Turmoil match. It was supposed to be, and the original Turmoil match was supposed to be number 1 contenders for the Raw tag team titles. But MVP gets hurt. Or if that's not until afterwards. But whatever prevails. Okay. But it turns into a Randy Orton versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. So from the tag team division, singles competition. And that's the main highlight for Raw. I mean, and then because everything else follows under that storyline.
Okay.
Before we get into that storyline, Nia Jax, I don't know if you've been, noticing the Nia Jax controversy with Shayna Baszler. 2 weeks ago, Nia Jax had a match with Charlotte Flair, I believe.
She won, but I think she had a rematch where
and then Shayna Baszler got on the side ropes and cost her the match overall.
And vice versa.
And yeah, this past Monday, the vice versa happens, and now they disclose that coming up Monday, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will have themselves a match. And okay, so you're splitting up now the tag team duo of dominance in the women's division, at least at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Something they probably could have done a long time ago.
Very true. Because Shauna Baszler could
Because
be champion by now.
ever since Shauna came up from
NXT.
NXT, they really decredited her. And then they took these top two talented people in NXT, or in Raw, sorry, Nia Jax and Baszler, and they tagged them together with they should have been the most dominant entity in all of sports entertainment. And yet again, they had a lot of struggles. And I mean, that's what happens with tag teams. You know, I mean, you saw that happen with Cesaro and Sheamus when they formed the Bar. But now you see that happening with, you know, they didn't have that chemistry at the beginning, which was fine. Then they built that chemistry and that chemistry was only built because of who was better, one or the other. Right, so they always try to outdo each other, and they rode that ride for as long as they could, but then that ride just stopped. They lost the titles, and then they stopped, and they were
back, and then they just stopped.
Well, they started becoming that mediocre team, and you start decrediting the value of Baszler and Nia Jax's potential. Is that not a WWE habit? What do they do to the Big Show? What do they do to Mark Henry?
The same stuff.
Once you know their potential, they decredit them so fast. You know, we're just going to call it Baszler. Miss Baszler over here. Thank you for that very well comment. Yeah, I know. We're mispronouncing names. This is the J&J talk show where we pronounce names. Shauna Baszler. I'm just going to call Miss Baszler. So, but this is a rivalry that I want to see happen. There's just not a lot built onto it. This is the wrong time and wrong place to do it. Mm-hmm. They're not promoting this. And so I question, once this match occurs next week or tomorrow night, what is next? Are they going to continue this storyline? Are they going to go back teaming up? I think it's time, and we talked about I think I talked about this with Trey, yesterday. We don't have enough women competitors. Everyone on Raw is going after it's being teamed up, Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH. And there's just no one out. You're using the same people as teams now. So with Charlotte going and Alexa Bliss going after each other, you're really starting to run out of options. And there was the same discussion we had with Bobby Lashley. Who else is his opponent can be, after Big E or Sheamus or whoever. They're going after the Raw individuals. And now it's a whole bunch of chaos going on because you don't know where anything is being directed.
And this is right before the draft.
Right before the draft. WWE Draft coming to you October 1st. Let's everyone hear it clear. October 1st, not this Friday night. Because SmackDown promoted. Let me make sure everyone sees that correctly. WWE Draft, October 1st and October 4th, which leads me into the regular show later on. And so, like you said, Nia Jax, Baszler, I don't know. Like I said, you're separating them possibly because of the draft, which I think it would be nice to see them change. Probably Baszler go to SmackDown, see what happens.
Maybe go after
Becky Lynch. Yeah. That would be a good match. But you really need if you're going to separate them, you need to rebuild the credit of Baszler.
So much so. Dominant wrestler.
As dominant as she was in NXT and as dominant as she is now. Bliss gives Charlotte a doll named Charlie that has the Raw Women's Championship in a segment that kind of builds up for this match a little bit more and gets me a little bit thrilled into it. Otherwise, if they didn't have this segment, and if it wasn't as a success as it was last week, because it was terrible last week, because Alexa Bliss, we mentioned Alexa Bliss airs a message inviting Charlotte to come into the playoffs. A moment pause from Alexa Bliss. Charlotte Flair, when she's about to speak, she says something completely on the other side of things, and then Alexa Bliss cuts her off because it was recorded. And this was the opportunity for her to come into the ring with the light flicker and all that stuff. So it was just a botch move. That's what it was, which we see more of that happen overall. But Bliss ends up taking out Flair because Flair tosses the doll back and they start going at it. Are you excited?
To see that match?
Or what is your thoughts on Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair for the title at Extreme Rules?
I think it needs to happen.
You think it needs to happen? Why? Because a month ago, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte wins the title out of a triple threat match. Neither Rhea Ripley or Nikki ASH has ever made an announcement. I mean, the only thing Nikki's done was say, "Hey, listen, we're gonna you're gonna lose matches, but I believe that we're gonna come back and win again." Right? That's what Nikki ASH has moved, and then they moved over to the tag team scenario. Then you had Alexa Bliss come out of the blue, but she also defeated Eva Marie in a non-SummerSlam worthy, match. So even though a match is considered, this is a match that you may be wanting to watch at Extreme Rules. Did Alexa earn this opportunity? What does she go through to earn this opportunity? Because we saw Nia Jax beat Charlotte Flair 2 weeks ago.
But then you see Charlotte Flair beat Nia Jax because of...
Well, that was because of the whole scenario with Shayna Baszler. But you could have kept Charlotte and Nia going out. Just the same reason why they should have kept Sheamus and Bobby Lashley throughout.
I just think they're leading somewhere completely different, and that's why they're having this match.
But you still have to get through in Extreme Rules.
Exactly.
I mean, if you told me a month ago that this is where we're headed, throw everything out the window and let me give you something that we'll head in the same direction, but we're going to go a different path to get there, a much simpler path that tells a story. If you're telling me that Big E was going to cash in his Money in the Bank contract, become the new WWE Championship, Bobby Lashley comes out the day after SummerSlam. Listen, everyone's up. I'm done. There's no one else I could face. Sheamus comes out, challenges, and they have a match. Not last Monday, but maybe the Monday prior, where then Big E starts, because Big E spent 2 weeks doing nothing after SummerSlam. And then he gets into a match. And after the match, he comes, he gets interviewed. And he's like, "I'm going after a championship." But out of the blue. So you could have built it up where he has eyeballs from day one, the day after SummerSlam. He could have posted to Twitter. He could have made a statement saying, "Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns, watch out. I'm going after one of you guys. This is the time to cash in."
Or watch this tonight, what will happen on Raw.
Or and maybe he shows up on Raw prior to, a couple of nights prior to cashing in.
Doing this every single week. We keep on building the anticipation.
And then cashes in a pay-per-view. Yeah. See, we could have took the same thing instead of out of the blue. throw him in there, which is fine. And I mean, I get it. And listen, Big E deserves that championship as much as the next person, but there was ways to build this.
True.
Which would have got invested if you knew, like, because you think about why is Big E cashing in? Why is Big E now the champion? What direction are they going after? You know, I hear the rumors of the Drew McIntyre Roman Reigns title match coming up here in a couple weeks.
Okay.
But really, what is, I mean, where is that? I mean, sometimes if you want to fool someone, just do it the right way. I mean, I think, you know, I said this yesterday, I'll say it again tonight. Mick Foley says something when he called out WWE. He says something that's touching. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes your simple storylines that work, right? Because we've seen stuff like this happen in the past, and what we're describing to you has happened in the past.
True.
And it's worked in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it still works today.
For sure.
So sometimes, even though we could predict and say, hey, if Big E takes this route, Big E takes that route, and then cashes it in, and we knew that, we still want to watch it because it works.
Exactly.
But we want to watch them execute it properly.
But that's not Raw right now.
That's not WWE overall.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because what Raw's doing is that they're painting you. Okay, week one, they painted you in the direction of Sheamus and Bobby Lashley.
True.
Going down. Possibility, right? That match never even occurred on week 2 or week 3. They never revisited that segment. Right? They got into it backstage, said, hey, Sheamus wants to have a match with Bobby Lashley in the ring. They even promoted that match in the ring. And a matter of fact, instead of that, Bobby Lashley teams up with MVP to face Randy Orton, RK Bro. And then Sheamus and Drew McIntyre has a triple threat match with Damian Priest for the U.S. title. Mm-hmm. So they go in 2 separate directions here. Okay. Like you said, you're going left, right, over, down. I feel like Mike Wazowski and the Monster Inc. getting twisted up in knots.
I feel like one of those cheat codes that you would always use for PlayStation 2. Up, down, left, right.
But sometimes the things that we know work, even though they may not be the greatest, they work. And if they and it builds, right? And it still tells that story. We're about the story. Mm-hmm. We want. I mean,
this is like the storytelling, pretty much.
It's one thing to tell the story, and not many wrestlers could do it today. And that's one of my biggest frustrations with WWE. Wrestling today, you can't tell the story inside the ring anymore. Okay, you have to use outside interference. You have to, like, I want to see the match between Alexa Bliss and let me rephrase it. I want to see the match between Damian Priest and Sheamus tell inside the story. They have some good background history the last couple of weeks. I want to see that match told inside the ring. Taker did it all the time. How many times can you tell that story flawlessly inside that ring? And WWE struggles with it.
All the time.
But yet again, you can't even tell that story outside the ring. If I can't sit down here and tell you where WWE is possibly headed next week, then I don't know. But yes, we are in the midst of the WWE Draft, so maybe that plays in a role.
Hopefully.
Last week, Raw, they bring up a rivalry that took place at SummerSlam. They didn't air this for. They didn't even talk about this for like a whole month, and then Jinder Mahal comes back and attacks Drew McIntyre once again. So Drew McIntyre and SummerSlam happens. McIntyre goes over, but McIntyre does not have anything to do with Jinder or his crew for the next 3 weeks until last week, out of nowhere, Mahal attacks McIntyre from behind. So this is a possible let up for leading you to another match at Extreme Rules.
All right. Yeah.
I don't mind the match. I like the match. I want them to see the match happen. The problem I have with it, What happened in between those 3 weeks? You can't go from one back the other. The only thing I could think of, and I sure hope WWE uses this for their advantage, is Mahal saying, listen, my luck's running out.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the bad shit for the last couple of weeks. Ever since I lost, I need to beat McIntyre so I can get back on that winning track. But there's no announcement. There's nothing leading you to that type of storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I want to congratulate Reggie, the WWE 24/7 champion, for hitting 80 million views on TikTok on all his acrobatic flips. Congratulations, Reggie. Wow. Damian Priest had a match with Hardy that Sheamus got involved with. It's good to see Hardy back in the ring. Gotcha. I just feel like they should utilize him more, but I don't know. I mean, he's dealing with some stuff, and I get where Hardy's going after. But just to see Hardy out there, he's still performing. I wish they could get him more involved. Nothing with the R-Truth stuff. Come on, that's not what he's about.
True.
They had the back match with. So I guess, like I said, there's an announcement possibly tomorrow that Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley will face Tamina and Natalya for the Women's Tag Team Championships.
Spring rules or like?
I don't know. I don't know. They're also promoting next week that Big E and then the New Day will reunite to face the Usos and Roman Reigns. That's all leading up to the draft, obviously.
True.
But you have to get through Extreme Rules first.
Yep. And
they can't even get to Extreme Rules quite yet without terrible stuff.
Exactly.
Oh, Lord. Congratulations to Big E for cashing it in. I think this is another step that the WWE is taking towards, although I think that storyline could be 10 times better. I mean, okay, so Bobby Lashley gets so pissed off after his match that he takes his anger out on Orton, puts him through a table, ends up, while doing that, gets injured
himself, which
Big E then capitalizes it. You would normally maybe see a rematch, Monday, tomorrow night, or at Extreme Rules, but nothing's announced yet. But Doudrop finally beats Eva Marie. The only exciting thing we saw on Raw last past week, Doudrop beats Eva Marie. What's next for them? They told that story. They took it over a month to happen. So they said, what's next for Doudrop? What's next for Eva Marie? It's Evolution over with. I heard that. Evolution may be over with.
Yeah. It's not too short, just like her own career.
Can NXT be any better?
Yes, it is. This is another week of debuts. And you shared this on Facebook too. The debut of Braun Breaker.
Debut of Braun Baker, Rick Steiner's son. Oh my Lord, I'm so excited. Here's a soda pop to that.
Which he pretty much dominated LA Knight.
Listen, do you think Rick Steiner's son is going to be better than Rick Steiner? I mean, Rick Steiner had a decent career, but his career was only really known for the tag team he did with his brother. Without that tag team being said, does Rick Steiner have the career he is famously known for? I don't think so. No. So my question is to you, though. He's dominant, but here's the thing. WWE has a huge tendency over the last 5-10 years to shoot down their top talent. Bobby Roode, Andrade, Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor is even part of it. Samoa Joe, look where he's at now.
He's injured.
So does Rick Steiner's son... Do you get out while you can and go to AEW? And I hate to promote this because I still love to see WWE have the place. I still want, Mick Foley said this correct. WWE is no longer the place where wrestlers want to go and establish their career anymore. Exactly. Because there's no security.
No security. And the storylines are terrible.
So, what is Rick Steiner's son walking himself into?
I think he just establishing some grounds.
Okay, so he dominated his match. I have this question for you though. Because I didn't watch the match, I saw the pictures of it.
Mm-hmm.
Can he move in the ring?
Yes,
he can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's not a Omos.
No, he kind of reminds me of
Ryback, which I heard a rumor that Ryback is returning to
maybe.
in-ring probably Raw, WWE. I don't know. I would like to see Ryback back.
Me too.
Ryback. Well, I would love to see Ryback and Goldberg.
True.
Because that was ever since Ryback's days, that was the epiphany of, hey, he's the next Goldberg. Mm-hmm. He looks the part.
Exactly.
So Rick Steiner, do you see him making a career? I mean, if WWE don't messes it up,
possibly, even though they probably won't mess it up. But after the Fatal 4-Way match at the main event of NXT,
oh yes,
where Tommaso Ciampa actually wins, Braun Breaker actually confronts Tommaso Ciampa. So is that like another possible?
Okay, so you have Rick Steiner's son and trying to learn the name. Brad Breaker.
I think it's Braun Breaker.
Braun, Brett, Brittany.
That too. Braun Breaker with 2 Ks.
Hey, Tommaso Ciampa, here's a toast to you and the Coca-Cola sponsor here. No, there's no sponsor. I just like to thank Coca-Cola for.
Congrats for getting Goldie back. Yeah, he's one of my favorite wrestlers on the.
But let me ask you this: who else really deserves that title around their waist right now?
Really, nobody.
Because Tommaso Ciampa, he gets the title, NXT title. He has to relinquish it because he's injured. Gets put on the shelf for 9, 12 months. Comes back and then gets dealt with Thatcher, which. Great. Thatcher's a great guy. He has some incredible matches. And you're always worried about once you get injuries in WWE, it's just like you're just become injury prone. But now he's getting that push again. And some of these other guys are not worth yet being a title. So he's the next step guy. Now, this should have happened maybe years ago, but better late than never.
True. And then we also got the
Coke. I got something else down here that does a lot better than me, but I can't show that. I'm not going to show it.
Well, then we also got another second match of the Creed brothers being dominant over pretty much a nobody, basically. So, can't wait to see them when they actually face a really better team than just feeding them amateurs.
I mean, okay, so let me ask you this, because we run into the controversy of WWE not having any tag teams. What's the tag team division look like in the next team? Is there
It's exciting.
It is. Okay, so how much do you see with this upcoming draft? Upcoming draft is not just an opportunity for Raw and SmackDown to mix, but do you see any tag teams in NXT right now possibly coming up? Because that's usually that happens on SmackDown. Usually happens. I'm sorry, the fallout of WrestleMania, where new upcoming superstars happen, and then when the draft comes, this is an opportunity for. This should have been a perfect time for where Karrion Kross comes in, right? But this is an opportunity for new people to make their debuts on the main roster. So I know that there is a controversy between NXT talent not wanting to go to Raw or WWE.
That might be the case
because you know what happens when you go to the WWE roster, but at the same time. Is there anyone that could, if they could, is there anyone worthy enough going to the main roster? Because WWE's talent right now in the tag team division sucks.
Well, you have the Street Profits there.
You have the Usos, you have the Street Profits, you have the New Day, okay, but those are teams you've been seeing for the last couple months. Otis and Gable, you're only taking me so far. What else does SmackDown have?
You have the Viking Warriors.
Vikings Warriors on Raw. Remember when McIntyre got ambushed by Jinder Mahal and his crew, Viking Raiders came out to save him. They turned it into a 6-man tag match.
Well, other than I don't see any tag team matches you really want to go to WWE.
What does that mean? Someone got a B. Please explain.
Maybe it's like a B match.
Someone got a B. Let me know. Describe more details.
Did somebody get stung by a bee? Well, then we also got the dominance.
Didn't you know I brought home a baby bumblebee?
That too. Oh, they watching the B movie.
Well, I mean, right now the Kansas City Chiefs are still beating, I think, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, it was like 35-32, and I think nope, it's actually 35-30.
The Mets beat the Phillies tonight.
Wow.
And just a quick look into that. Now they're 3.5 games back with the Padres. Cincinnati Reds now hold 3 games out.
So, what do you think about Mandy's Rose's new appearance?
You know what? I think I don't. Did I post this? I think I posted this today on Facebook. I like it. I think when she was a blonde, she was not being taken seriously. Especially after moving away from WWE.
Now she's going like NXT.
And that's just that when they separated her from Sonya Deville.
Mm-hmm.
When they had that feud last year when they set up to Sonya Deville losing, that's fine, whatever. Now you have yourself. She needs to reinvent herself.
True.
And she had that issue. She had that little segment with Otis, which was cute, which I loved. Being a big guy myself, you don't really see much big guys get the brotherly love from that. But she needed a reinvention.
Mm-hmm.
So whether she did it on Raw, which I think she needed to do on Raw, she could have successfully did this on WWE, on SmackDown, whatever. Mm-hmm. But going back down to NXT to reinvent yourself, exactly. One of the best things happened to her career. I hope this lasts on for a while. She has a great team behind her to help support her on this.
Well, I'm glad she's healed too.
They're dominant on this too. Exactly. So it must not have been as bad. Maybe right. She was in a mask last week, and then now she's not. But yet again, she's not an in-ring, competition.
Not yet.
She's a manager right now to these 2 other individuals that are competing.
True.
So maybe is she taking more of a badass, hey, don't bullshit with me, like Zelina Vega look on NXT, where she's changed. She's more authority. People will take us more seriously. But as a manager, where she tells other people what to do and she takes all the credit. Or is she
the next like Adam Cole?
Yeah, maybe. I like it. It's a new start because she was recognizable, and I like her in her brunette hair more than the blonde. Well, now I know her roots don't go down. Her blonde don't go down to the roots.
Maybe
she's much better than that.
Well, that was pretty much NXT.
So congratulations to Tommaso Ciampa. Congratulations to Big E. I'm excited to see what the fallout is of NXT. I hope you guys are too. And right now, NXT is a little bit more pushy right now with, being ahead, I think, with more competition with AEW. AEW is still right there. NXT has a long ways to go. But this is the start. You got to remember, NXT is the developmental stage of WWE. And it always will be. Okay. And no matter how much great talent you go through that show, it's not going to be WWE.
No.
So you can't act like NXT. See, WWE tried to create NXT going to compete, have the Monday Night Wars with AEW. No, well, AEW surpassed them a lot. And now you see WWE and AEW. We knew that was going to always happen.
Yep.
So it was a fool for WWE to try to make that NXT be the Monday Night Wars with NXT. But I love the way that they're keeping NXT fresh now. And I think, in my opinion, Samoa, and I hate to say this because I love Samoa Joe, but Samoa Joe getting injured helps NXT a lot more. Because now they can make that next step and move in that next direction. So a lot of exciting things happening in NXT.
And a lot of things happening in AEW too.
And in AEW, yeah, that's a shoot. Maybe let me scrap Raw and I'll go to AEW from now on.
True.
Well, you got Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega coming up here. We thought about this. Did he have to go through 5 stages of hell? Who would his 5 opponents be if he had to go through? If Bryan had to go through that just to face Omega.
That's what I felt like.
I thought maybe he should have to face Adam Cole and maybe Cody Rhodes or I don't know, Chris Jericho or MJF, whatever.
I know CM Punk got attacked by Team. Was it Jazz?
Yeah, I apologize. I'm not too creative in that field. I want to kind of just shout out once again. I want to give thanks to YouTube. I want to make sure my mic's not mute. I want to give a shout out and thanks to YouTube for airing our new stream. I want to give a shout and thanks to StreamYard to being in the studio and providing us with the simple content. If you're looking to make, whether it's podcast, YouTube live videos, whether you're looking to make studio videos whatsoever, StreamYard, very simple. They have a free edition on StreamYard where you could just go on your mic. You could have guests on. Obviously, you may need better software system. That's one thing that we lack of. But right now, you could screen share your screen. If you're into gaming, you want to game on this, do your PC, do tutorials. StreamYard is the place to go. So thank you for StreamYard. I also want to give a shout out to Placeit, who does our logos up here in this area. If I can reach, I can't reach that far. No, that way. Woo. So Placeit, who has been able to brand. Hopefully we get some new stuff up here later on. I also want to give a shout out to Spotify, who is now you can finally air our new podcast. It's basically everything that you're listening to here on YouTube. If you don't have time to watch us, if we look too ugly for you guys, I mean, he's bald, but listen, if you don't want to view us, that's fine. Go to Spotify, download it's a free application. You guys can watch us, listen to us from there. Much more convenient coming up. We're going to head into our last part. We've had a great show. It's been iffy for the first half an hour. We got things back up and running. Did you watch SmackDown?
The highlights.
We saw it's been about a month since we saw Apollo Crews really say or do anything in the Intercontinental Championship reign. And Shinsuke, and it caught Shinsuke and Rick Boog off the track. I want to just give a quick thank you. I know all the entire episode so far has been off of one stream. We got 2 more on there. Hopefully they could say hi maybe on the comments or whatnot. That could be Kay wondering where you're at right now. If we think about it, we'll see if she replies back to that.
No,
but
she went backwards. It's only 2 now. She didn't back out of it real quick.
She's like, when are you going to get home?
Are you done yet?
Yeah, this is the late night show. We got a little delayed due to technical issues that we had early on. But with all due aside, SmackDown, you know what? SmackDown has an issue. And they're putting better content than they have been. Did she message you? They put better content than than Raw right now, right?
For sure.
But you know why? It's because they're on Fox, and they have to have that standard. And I just wonder what type of content you think they're really going to be putting out or would be putting out if they weren't on Fox. I remember when they used to be on Spike or Sci-Fi.
What ECW was on Sci-Fi?
They used to be on Sci-Fi. And I remember SmackDown. SmackDown, this was with Taker. This was an episode that was taped on Tuesdays, aired on Fridays, with Taker, JBL, Booker T, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Big Show, Triple H. I mean, John Cena, Kurt Angle. And they had some really better shows then.
A lot better.
On a network that didn't care or that didn't have high standards. And like I said, this SmackDown, I feel like a lot of it and how good it is only because of Fox.
Because they're maintained
and you have to maintain it or else Fox will cut you off.
Exactly.
So, and there's a lot of chaos going on SmackDown, which is fun, but there's no organized chaos.
I would like organized story chaos.
Well, you got Roman Reigns going. I mean, okay, so listen. All right, so just a week ago, so remember, all this started with Brock Lesnar returning back to WWE to square off with Roman Reigns. Finn Balor gets in the middle of this picture now. John Cena leaves. He goes back to making a movie. He's admitted to that. Okay. Bye-bye.
Well, what movie is nigga?
Let's sing the Nene song to him. The Goodbye song, right? Remember that song?
Na na na,
Hey, na 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah. Okay. That's my ADD version of that song. But okay, so Finn Balor gets involved with Roman Reigns, wants the title he never lost. Great. Then you get Big E after winning the championship, coming back and now appearing against,
interfering and actually with the head of the table.
Right, getting himself involved. So he abandons his brand, goes to Raw, wins the title, comes back, and now rubs it in Roman Reigns' face.
Exactly.
But, yet again, how come, if that's the case, can Big E go toe-to-toe with Roman Reigns?
Never.
See, that caused more controversy there.
True.
So, I mean, you think that you're maybe setting up potential great matches for the next 3 weeks while WWE enters this draft.
Yeah.
But realistically, I call Big E a coward because he was on SmackDown. He had the Money in the Bank contract. He could have cashed it in any time while Roman Reigns gets his ass handed to him.
By Brock Lesnar.
By Brock, by Finn, by whoever. Instead, you sit there, you go to Raw, cash in on an injured Bobby Lashley, wins the title, bring it back to SmackDown, rubs it in Roman Reigns' face. Have you thought about that perspective? Probably get a lot of hate on that. But have you thought about that perspective?
Yeah, with the draft going on, would Big E actually, with the championship, go to SmackDown and Roman Reigns go to Raw?
Well, I mean, it doesn't, as long as the brand sticks. Like I said, you still got promotion of Drew and Roman facing up here in a couple of weeks. But, I mean, just look into that, though. If you think about it, let's say the draft never appeared. It's not coming. Let's say it's not coming October 1st.
Okay.
Big E abandoned his brand. He had a Money in the Bank contract to cash in at any time. Abandoned his brand, goes to Raw, cashes it in, makes it noticeable, hey, I'm going to cash in.
Exactly.
Cashes it in at the end of the night on an injured Bobby Lashley. And then comes back to his original brand to rub it into the champion's face. When you could have just beat the champion yourself with all the issues he has with Finn Balor, he could have waited for Extreme Rules.
He could have waited for Crown Jewel.
He could have waited for Crown Jewel and beat Roman Reigns. But instead, he goes after Bobby Lashley. So is he a coward?
I wouldn't say a coward.
No, I mean, I don't want to say a coward either.
Opportunist.
Right, but you had an opportunity right there in front of you.
Exactly. But
and like I said, I know the draft's coming up, but I don't know. For me, it's not. I don't know. Like, you got to look. Like, listen, don't decredit. Big E deserves the champion. He earned it. I get it. Cash in at your opportunity moment. But you had opportunities on your brand, and when you come back in and rub it in Roman Reigns' face, it kind of like, just, you want it, stay. Just stay. Don't go nowhere. Stay. And you come back and you rub it in the smack. You just don't do that.
It doesn't make sense. I agree with you.
You start decrediting yourself, and you start making yourself look bad.
True.
At least in my opinion. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, like I said, I'm not decrediting Big E's accomplishment.
No.
It's big. He deserves it.
For sure.
But the fact that you come back to antagonize the champion on SmackDown,
it's cowardly.
It's not like Roman Reigns came to your house on Raw now, where the title's defended on Raw to confront you about it. You go back home and say, hey, I got something too. But then Roman Reigns holds it up higher and says, so I'm still the dog.
Well, that'd be intriguing that Big E would actually hold the title and say, acknowledge.
Well, he couldn't even hold it, get it up all the way. But I don't know. This leads to this leads to a tag match, which was a good match with Balor and Big E teaming up to face the Usos. Usos then ambush Big E, laying him out cold in the backstage area,
Mm.
right? Rick Boog, I think this is his first singles competition.
No, he like wrestled like a last week, I believe, too.
You know he's undefeated.
Mhm.
Beat Robert Roode.
Wow.
Apollo Crews then attacks, and I don't know the other guy's name. They don't even hardly show up on WWE no more, so I don't really plan to know the name. But that happens. Corbin attacks Owens before his match.
Shocker. Extreme Rules.
Is there enough behind that?
No, not really. But you know what, WWE, they don't give a fuck anymore.
Well, I mean that's true. You did have this whole controversy with Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Zelina that's led up to the Extreme Rules match. Liv Morgan and Carmella. Now that match, I don't know why you needed that match. The New Day is advertised to face the Usos and Roman Reigns next week on Raw.
Tomorrow.
Which is tomorrow. Yeah, if you're listening to this now, tomorrow, Monday, September 20th, 2021, is another episode of Raw, the Raw before Extreme Rules. Naomi is starting to get fed up because she's not getting any in-ring action from Sonya Deville. This has been going on for a couple weeks now. I give up on Dominic Mysterio and Sami Zayn. This is the
third straight week that he lost.
This is the same exact thing I see back in what I think 18 with when Seth Rollins faced Drew and Dolph every single week for like 2 whole months. Oof. And I'm like, I got no compliments because they're not doing nothing. It's not helping Dominic out.
Nope.
And you're sure not helping Sami Zayn out.
Will be intriguing.
Maybe all the wins.
I would like to see him go to NXT.
No, he'll get eaten up in NXT. You know that. No, I think Dominic knows enough.
Or maybe go to AEW.
I think Dominic knows enough by now in the WWE business. I mean, he wrestled. Let's not forget, he wrestled and defeated Seth Rollins. He had that large feud, and he defeated him by himself.
True. But where was that now?
Well, that's exactly what it is. You took 20 steps back. I mean, you ran back a football field. It's like the Kansas City Chiefs going backwards, and then scoring for the other team. But Dominic knows enough. I think he needs to stay on SmackDown. I think they need to start pushing him to start succeeding more, and that's it. I mean, as we get, I think you need to start turning the tables down, Dominic. I mean, have him with the Seth Rollins doesn't have an opponent now. Have Dominic go after Cesaro. Have him go after Seth again. Have him go after Robert Roode. Have him go after Shinsuke Nakamura. That's how he's going to get better when he's facing better guys.
True.
Right? You're going to perform your best effort of performance. It's only going to come with how good your partner is. And listen, I love Sami Zayn as an athlete. He's a good athlete. But you're wrestling him the same match the last 2 weeks. You're not going to get anywhere in learning-wise by facing the same guy.
Yep, he's not going to learning the different types of
But when
styles.
you wrestle exactly. You got to learn that. You got to learn how to face the big guys. He is a small guy like his father. He's not a muscular guy either. He needs to be able to learn how to do different moves. And they're playing the safe card week in and week out by putting him against Sami Zayn.
He needs to start doing this David and Goliath when Rey Mysterio faced the Big Show.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Yep. We're in Knoxville, Tennessee on SmackDown. And quick shout out to Kane comes back.
Kansas City Chiefs just fumbled. So that probably just cost them the game.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, were they losing?
Yeah, I think it was 36-35.
Really? Yep. Oh, if you're not tuning into football, let's tune back into football here.
Baltimore just got the fumble.
It's 35-36 with a minute 20 left. Baltimore has the ball again. This is a huge big victory from Baltimore, by the way.
Okay, comeback victory right there.
But Kansas City still has all 3 timeouts.
Okay.
So we'll see. But it's under the 2 minute. Are you sure it's not gonna be reviewed? Interesting. Let's tune into that. Let's finish up here by the time that game ends here. They ran the play, so the play cannot be reviewed anymore. This is what happens when we have a late night show. We get to finish watching football with you guys. Kane returns back, as a mayor of Knoxville. To welcome back Bianca Belair to her hometown. Okay. I love it. I love the idea of everything that went on there, right? The mayor of Knoxville. Bianca Belair, born and raised there. Her family and friends were there. Okay. You're trying to push the storyline between Bianca and Becky, and this is the way you do it. Okay. You take her hometown and you take it away from you. You embarrass her in her hometown. Okay. So now you have a fight. But as me and Trey mentioned this yesterday, it has to be a fight.
It cannot be what she had at.
Exactly, and it can't be a lame fight where Becky's trying to back out of it. Exactly. We need to see the Becky Lynch that was from back in before she had to relinquish that title.
Yeah, that's it when she faced Ronda Rousey.
Exactly. That same exact Becky Lynch. And we want to see it. If you see that, it's going to be a great match with Bianca Belair.
Very true.
But Becky Lynch has embarrassed her in her hometown. I don't know what happened when SmackDown went off air. It's great because you get it. This is the working of Fox here, though. Kane returns. I know it's Kane. He's the mayor and all that stuff. Gives her the key to Knoxville, whatever. I mean, but this is Fox working. Because if it wasn't for Fox, do you really bring Kane back?
Not really. Not doing his duties.
I don't see the reason why you even bring him out to begin with. Why are you getting Kane involved into this match? But it gives me a little bit more excitement for this match. Okay. Because there's only 6 matches set for Extreme Rules. Liv Morgan and Carmella, who was announced Friday. There was the SmackDown Tag Titles, the Street Profits versus the Usos. Both Raw Women's Championships on the line. Damian Priest and Sheamus for the U.S. title. Okay. And then you got Roman Reigns and Finn Balor, or the Demon, right? Yeah. So you don't have anything really exciting. Now, obviously, coming into last week, you could have another match or 2 set up in the place. That's fine. That's cool. Thank you. But here's one other thing I want to bring up, too, before we wrap up our show. There's no stipulations yet.
On the matches.
On any of the matches. Besides titles.
For being Extreme Rules.
For being Extreme Rules. So I don't want to watch Liv Morgan and Carmella, but maybe if you put in a stipulation on that match.
Ladder match.
Or just no DQ, no holds barred.
Something like that.
What about
last woman standing?
Last woman standing, yes. What about kendo stick match with Sheamus and Damian Priest? Tables match with now we're talking about TLC, but tables match with the tag team titles. So my last thing going into Extreme Rules is that it's Extreme Rules. Where's the extreme? Are we going to see another Taker and Edge match at Extreme Rules? You know what I'm saying? That type of match with Edge being out of action. Seth Rollins doesn't have a match. So, I mean, I know that there's room for another match or 2. Liv Morgan and Carmella is a match that kind of just threw it in there because they got to fill in the card, which I think is bogus. And by the way, Baltimore Ravens beat the Kansas City Chiefs. A very impressive win from the Ravens because they really needed this win, but it also gives the Chiefs their first loss of the season. So it doesn't show them empowerable. But back to what we were saying here. It is important that they put some sort of stipulation on at least 2 to 3 of these matches by the end of the week.
True.
If not, it's going to be why call it Extreme Rules? Just call it another WWE pay-per-view. So just a quick information here. So we have all the matches set for Raw. We had that 6-man tag match, right?
Mhm.
We have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler
Mhm.
scheduled for Raw as well. We also have just something that was interesting to catch eye. I just found out this week. It could have been a couple weeks ago, but WWE 2K22 has been promoted the last couple of weeks,
Okay.
or at least prior to SummerSlam,
I've
right?
seen briefly about that, but who's on the
But
cover?
usually it's I think Roman Reigns is on the cover. I may be mistaken, but it usually comes out in October, where that's usually the tradition. I don't think they're ready for it to come out October because now they're promoting for March of next year. So WWE 22K22, March of next year. So I want to give out a shout out to that. I know you're watching Big Brother.
Mhm.
How's that going? It's almost over with.
Well, it wasn't on this week.
It wasn't on this week.
No.
So you spent an hour and a half doing nothing.
No, I actually was doing eating.
But so Big Brother's wrapping up towards the end here in the next couple of weeks. It took a week off.
We're on Final Four.
Final Four. So if you have something you guys want to watch, Wednesday, Thursday,
Sunday.
Sunday, and I think it'll end off probably next week.
Probably a week and a half left.
Probably next week. Yeah, next Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, probably Thursday.
Probably beginning of next month.
And then also we have what was that new film? What it was? I want to say October 4th or 5th of next month. You had that new movie between Runaway from Taker or something like that on Netflix.
Oh yeah, with Biggie and
with the New Day and the Undertaker.
That's a Netflix film, I believe.
Netflix film. So we will go ahead and start getting that promoted up here as well. Who? Really? You notice all? Oh my Lord. And then also, something I'm actually excited for too coming up here on television.
She just said it and just backed out of it.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna block it. I'm just kidding. And then we have Young Sheldon. Another season comes up on CBS. Returns October 7th. So just kind of a little outside of sports things going on. Are you excited? I mean, Halloween's coming up here next month. We may have a different decoration by our next show. I got some surprises to bring up for some people. Kind of be more festive.
No spoilers.
More festive. But yeah, anyways, listen, I hope you guys enjoy our show this week. I know it was kind of lagged the first half an hour or so, but we got back on the things. We had to test some things out, and we'll be back next week. Please pay attention to some of the segments that I do throughout the week, explaining October baseball coming ahead in a couple of weeks, football, NCAA, what do you need to know, and all that stuff as we get ready for on mine. Gosh, we're talking about bleach stains now, apparently. Do you have bleach stains?
Oh, I know I have bleach. I have.
Listen, there's shirts.
I have sweat stains.
And then
there's no way you've been watching, so I'm like, hey.
She's kind of tuning in and out. But anyways, listen, I hope you guys enjoy this show. Until next week. My name is Justin. This is Justin. Also, don't forget to check us out on Spotify. We'll post up this episode here in a couple of minutes. So, with all that being said, my name is Justin. This is Justin. This is the J&J Talk Show. We appreciate you tuning in. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.